Hi, everybody. I'm Alyce-Kay from SufferingWell, and I wanted to share with you today the details about the Stations of the Cross Bible study that I told you about. I think it was about a week ago. I will link that below because I'm not going to reshare a lot of that information with you, but I want to give you the information about when we're having it and how you join that. So this is going to be a live Bible study on Zoom. It is not going to be recorded because we want to be able to have discussion, and if people are being recorded, sometimes they don't want to share, you know, especially if it's going to go onto YouTube or something. So this is just going to be a small group. We are going to limit how many people can join this. So yeah, it's kind of like first come, first served. And it's going to be on Sunday evenings, beginning February 19th and going through March 26th. We may have a bonus meeting on Sunday, April 2nd, which is Palm Sunday. So it'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and I'm going to have information below which will kind of break that down for US time zones. If you're outside of the US, this is Eastern time is New York City time. So you can just look on the internet and say, what time is it in New York now? Or what time is 8 p.m. in New York at my location? And it will do that for you. It's very easy. But if you have any trouble, please let me know in the comments below. We will get back to you and we'll help you with that. So how do you join? You need to let us know one of two ways. You can let us know on our email address, which I will post below. It's the Proton email address. Or if you're in one of my Facebook groups, you can let me know through there. If you want to join one of those Facebook groups in order to hear more about this, you're welcome to. You do not have to join that at all, but that's just another way that you can hear about this. And I'll post a link for one of those down below. So we're going to have it for 6 weeks with a possible 7th week bonus. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at the Stations of the Cross. We're going to start out actually with something that's not part of the Stations of the Cross. The Stations of the Cross are the Via Dolorosa, the way that Jesus walked to Calvary. But we're going to start out with the first 3 sorrowful mysteries, which are the agony in the Garden of Gethsemane, where he prayed, "Not my will, but thine." We're going to look at his scourging, and we're going to look at the crown of thorns the first week. Then after that, we're going to look at a few of the Stations of the Cross each week, ending with kind of a review of the whole thing and how you can pray that. So I know a lot of you probably have never heard of the Stations of the Cross before. This is basically a Catholic practice, but I don't see any reason why Protestants can't do it. And so I want to invite you, even if you're Protestant, to join in on this, because this is something I wish I had known about as a Protestant. Doing this, I did this for the first time last year, and it really, really deepened my experience of Jesus' passion and his death and then his resurrection. And so I just really, really would recommend it for you. We will be using a book for the Stations of the Cross. We're not sure which one yet, and you do not have to have that. You absolutely do not have to have that, but we will let you know what it is, which one we decide on, so that you can get it if you want to. The time that you would want to have it, if you got it, would be the 6th week. Up until then, if you want to have it, that's great, but we won't really be looking at the book so much. We'll be looking more like a Bible study. We're going to look at each of the Stations of the Cross and what the Bible says about that and stuff. And we're going to have some discussion. We want to be able to let people share about it. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to. In fact, if you want to be on Zoom and just have a picture up or a blank or whatever, you don't have to show yourself either. But if you want to discuss it, we're going to have time for that. So the sessions are going to be an hour long, and that's when we'll do our Bible study and the bulk of our discussion. We'll have an extra hour after that that's available, that's completely optional. Some people only can spare an hour, so we want to really get the study into that part and the main discussion. But if people want to stay longer, if you have questions about anything, I'm almost afraid to say that, but we can't promise to have the answers, but we can get them from somebody. Yeah, so you can ask questions about anything in the time after that. It doesn't even have to be about the Stations of the Cross if you want to ask about other things, but that'll be just optional for those who want to stay for that time. So Easter is April 9th. So we're doing this to lead up to Good Friday and Easter. And just to kind of get you thinking, because I think this takes some preparation, emotionally, at least it did for me. You don't have to do this, but I would really, really recommend watching Mel Gibson's Passion of the Christ on Good Friday after doing the Stations of the Cross. It will mean a lot to you if you do that. You'll it's a very difficult movie to watch. Very, very difficult, very emotional. I watched it when it first came out and said I would never watch it again because it was just so overwhelming to me. But I just felt really convicted that I needed to watch it this last year. That doesn't mean that you have to, but I just want to share with you that that was just, it was quite an experience for me. And I couldn't get somebody else to watch it with me. So I watched it by myself, which was also hard. But I think the fact that it is so hard to watch, the fact that it is so overwhelming, seeing such a portrayal of a fairly realistic portrayal of what Jesus went through, I think that's good for us. I think that it's really good for us to understand what our sins cost him and to know how much God loved us to be willing to have his son go through that so that we could have relationship with him. It just, yeah, it just really, really deepened my relationship with him. And that's what I'm hoping that it will do with you. The other thing is that the reason that we've decided to do this particular event or study is because it's kind of launching our ministry, Suffering Well, which is about how we can use our suffering to glorify God and to help others. And we'll talk more about that like towards the end, I think, of the Stations of the Cross study, probably in one of those hours after the study. But I just want to kind of give you just a little bit of an overview right now of what that is. And so we just felt that looking at and really studying and meditating on Jesus' suffering is a good way for us to start thinking about how we can use our own suffering to glorify God and to serve others. And, and yeah, like this is really good. So the Stations of the Cross go all the way through this crucifixion and the burial. So you might also want to think about what you can do to really, really celebrate Jesus' resurrection afterwards. That's not part of the Stations of the Cross. Some books have it as part of it. The Stations of the Cross is really about his passion. But you do want to make sure, because what's the point of him dying if he didn't resurrect from the dead, right? Okay, so that's really important. And who knows, maybe we'll end up doing something like that. If people really want to do something together, then we might do that. But we kind of figure everybody has their own Easter things, and so we don't want to disrupt that by doing something Easter Sunday. But yeah, so be thinking about that. And if you have ideas about how to celebrate that, that would be really meaningful. We would love it if you share those with us, maybe in the comments below, so that we can share those in the group. And you can share those whether you join this or not. That would be really awesome. So anyway, again, it's 8 p.m. Eastern time, Sunday evenings, beginning February 19th, which is in a little bit more than a week. And it goes through March 26th or possibly April 2nd. Okay, so one other thing that I want to mention to you about the time is that most states will have a time change from standard time to daylight savings time here in the US during that. And if you're in another country that doesn't have daylight savings time, which I think is probably most of the world now, just be aware of that. We will remind you of that when that time comes, because that's going to change the time for you. And if you're in another country, and again, if you need help with that, I am going to put the US times down below, but it would take up a lot of space to put every time for every country. So if you're having a hard time figuring out what time that would be for you, let me know. I will help you, or David will help you. And one of us will get back to you. It's not terribly difficult to figure out if you know how to do it. It's New York time, so just be looking for that. There was something else that I wanted to say about that. So anyways, that's 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern time for 6 or 7 Sunday evenings, beginning with February 19th. And this is 2003, just in case anybody's seeing this later. Okay, so if you have any questions, please put those below, and I'll be sure to answer those in the future as we lead up to this. And thank you for considering joining us. We're looking forward to having a very diverse group. You can join us from any place in the world. You just need decent internet. It's going to be on Zoom. I will send you a link, but that's why you need to register ahead of time so that I have an email where I can send a link to you to join us, and also so that we know who's joining, how many people, because we are limiting how many people can do it. So do register for it. Email is below. That's the best way to register. Or if you want to register through one of my Facebook groups, be sure to tell me explicitly that you are going to join us if you're joining that way. All right, I love you all. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.